Hi folks, welcome to Rare Disease Day 2022. My name is Evie Nevin and I have the rare disease Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is a connective tissue disorder that affects the production of collagen. And collagen is the glue that holds the body together, and it's present in all parts of the body, including your organs and your skin and around your joints. And collagen in normal people is like household glue, whereas people with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome with faulty collagen has theirs is like chewing gum. So our skin can be stretchy, our joints are hypermobile, and we can have problems in all parts of the body really, but particularly one of the big telltale signs of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is having hypermobile joints that dislocate quite easily or subluxate quite easily. Subluxating meaning that it's partially dislocated, but it's it's out of place. It's not fully out of the socket. So what's it like living with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome? It is exhausting. It's frustrating. You can dislocate very easily. For example, if I walk, I can dislocate my pelvis. I have dislocated my wrist braiding my hair. I dislocate fingers very easily. If I turn my head left or up, some of my neck can dislocate. And it's really frustrating. And because your body is working so hard to basically keep itself together, it means chronic fatigue can also set in. There are dozens of comorbidities that go with having Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, including autonomic dysfunction and mast cell activation disorder are two of the kind of main comorbidities that would go with having Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Like I said, there are dozens, including autoimmune diseases that can go hand in hand with EDS as well. So, to talk about all the comorbidities, I'll be here forever. There is no consultant here in Ireland for patients with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. There is a petition, which I will link with this video, for the government to appoint, and the HCA to appoint one consultant to look after the thousands of people with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome in this country. And like I said, it's considered a rare disease, but we believe it's more rarely diagnosed rather than actually being very, very rare. With the hypermobility Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is the type I'm currently diagnosed with, it's about 1 in 5,000 people. So classified as rare, but in reality, it's not that rare. You will. I often see people that kind of have telltale signs, and they are diagnosed with something else. They're diagnosed with things like depression. They're diagnosed with fibromyalgia, IBS, things like that. And the expertise is not here in Ireland, particularly amongst Irish doctors. I have to say, in my own experience, it was always the foreign national doctors who knew a lot more about Ehlers-Danlos syndrome than the Irish doctors, which is interesting. I think it shows that whatever is being taught in Irish medical school is not up to date. It's the extreme version of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, with people being able to stretch their skin out to here, and they're contortionists. And EDS, like neurodiversity, I suppose, as somebody with autism, I see that EDS as a spectrum, just like autism. No two patients are exactly the same. No two patients will have the exact same symptoms. Obviously, there are main symptoms, a main criteria for diagnosis, but generally, a lot of us would experience it differently, and to varying degrees. the HSC are in complete and utter denial about the lack of expertise and the lack of help here for patients with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. They are under the impression that all rheumatologists can look after patients with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I had a private diagnosis initially. I went to a public rheumatologist because a GP had scoffed at my private diagnosis. So I went to a public rheumatologist only to be told, I don't know why you're here. You're already diagnosed. There's nothing I can do to help you. So, and that's the experience of so many patients with Ehlers-Danlos in Ireland. In fact, those of us who you know, really do need to be monitored properly, and where the condition affects our daily lives, a lot of us do end up traveling over to the UK to get the expertise in the UK. One trip I took with my 2 children who also have the condition was €20,000, and that was just to go and see consultants and physiotherapy and some tests. You know, no major like operations or any long-term plans or anything like that. It was just specialized physiotherapy consultants and some autonomic testing. What we need in Ireland, you know, we're asking for one consultant, but ideally what we need in Ireland is a hypermobility clinic to look after all people with types of connective tissues like Marfan syndrome, Loeys-Dietz syndrome, and we even see hypermobility in people with Down syndrome and various other conditions. So it would be of benefit to, you know, not just patients with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, but anybody affected by hypermobility. And there are people who are, you know, who are hypermobile that, you know, may not have any specific diagnosed condition, but the hypermobile joints could be causing them problems. So, you know, it's in the interest of everyone really, because, you know, genetics is funny. You know, there was no one in my family diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos before I was diagnosed with it. I'm the first in my family to be diagnosed it, and that can happen in about 25% of cases where you'll have a spontaneous mutation of that gene. So it can literally happen to anyone. So it's in the best interest of everyone if we have a dedicated hypermobility clinic for anybody with any sort of genetic connective tissue disorders. I have done a video on the link between autism and Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and that is on the NeuroPride YouTube page. So if you want to know a bit more about the genetics and the link between autism and everything like that, I do recommend you go and watch that video. If you made it to the end of this, thank you very much. Please don't forget to sign the petition. Read up on Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Write to your public representatives asking for one consultant for us here in Ireland, and yeah, help us join the fight. Come and join the Zebra Army, and we'll be very happy to have you. So thank you.